Hi, welcome to my podcast, Becoming a Cut Flower Grower. I'm your host, Lydia, and I'm here to share my year of growing and selling cut flowers. I'll be giving you the lowdown on everything I'm doing and sharing all the highs and lows, the good times and the inevitable disasters, all in real time. Join me on my cut flower journey, starting right now. Hello and welcome to the episode. It is Tuesday, the 20th of May. It is 10 o'clock at night. I've just got in and put some dinner on. So if you hear various pings in the background, that is just the microwave and the timer to let me know that my tea is ready. I'm a big fan of batch cooking at this time of the year. So I'm doing just spaghetti bolognese on an endless loop. And I don't think I'm ever going to get sick of it because it is my favorite meal, but you just never know. But there's nothing else to be done. I've been up on the plot for hours this evening doing bits and pieces, which I'll fill you in on shortly. The really great news to start the episode off with is that Goose, my hen, who has a damaged bottom, is doing really, really well. And I think it's an absolute miracle. I honestly didn't think that she was going to make it, and nor did the vet. But here we are. So it happened last Wednesday. So we're here Tuesday night and she's still alive and doing incredibly well. She's having a great time. So she's living at home with me. She's being spoilt rotten. She's actually had strawberries the last few days, which is more than I treat myself to. And she's eating really well, going to the toilet normally, and her skin has healed up incredibly quickly. I'm amazed the skincare companies aren't harnessing the power of how fast chicken skin heals, because it's extraordinary how fast it is. It's pretty much all healed. There's like a tiny bit that's like the size of, I don't know, the end of a pencil that hasn't healed up yet. Everything else fine. So she's doing incredibly well, and it is just a miracle. It really is. So that is great. And I'd like to say a special thank you to those of you who messaged in to me about her. So Sonia, Jackie, Caroline, thank you so much. It means a lot to me. She's a very special girl. They're all special, but Goose is very special. And so fingers crossed we carry on the same track about that. Okay, so on with the episode. Got to start with the weather because, I mean, I've been saying this for weeks, right? No rain, hoping for rain, really need rain. Everything's very dry. And here we are at the 20th of May and still no rain. So there's a possibility of some tomorrow. Otherwise, we're looking at the weekend, maybe. The forecast is still a bit iffy. So I thought I'd look up some stats on the Met Office website and see what they say. Now, there's no data up there for May yet because they haven't compiled it. The month's not over. So what I can tell you, according to the Met Office, is this is the driest spring in over 100 years. Yeah, that sounds about right. April in the UK was the sunniest April since records began in 1910, and the third warmest April since records for temperature began in 1884. And our rainfall levels for April were at 56% of the typical totals for April. So that's all from the Met Office. And I can't believe it, actually, that when I did the trial beds last year and I was really just tinkering around, it rained constantly. And I thought, this is just ridiculous. And then this year, 2025, the first year of growing and doing everything like properly, we have the warmest, driest spring in over 100 years. And of course, if you're a regular listener, you'll know I had that terrible disaster where I left the tap running on one of the water bowsers and managed to empty out 1,400 litres overnight. So I am at really incredibly low levels of water at the moment. I'm trying not to panic because there's nothing I can do about it, and panicking isn't going to help. If I end up going down the supermarket and buying loads of water in bottles, that is what I'll have to do. Everybody is doing fine. Nobody's really struggling. It's just a few things. In fact, the vegetables are kind of bolting. The rhubarb's bolted, and a few other things are threatening to bolt, but that doesn't matter. It's not a huge problem. And everything's getting watered when it goes out. So I've had a really busy week of planting things out because what I want to do is get everything planted out before the rains come next week so that everybody just gets a really good soaking in. And I just thought, well, that is the deadline I'm going to set myself, because I've still got trays and trays of stuff all over the place. And it's easier to look after them at home because I'm on the mains, and so you can water them and it's fine. It's really easy. I didn't want to rush to put things up to the plot because we now have, I don't know, a couple of 100 litres left, and that, believe me, does not go anywhere. So that was the reason kind of why I hung on to things here at home a little bit longer. But now I'm like, okay, there's rain coming. The ground is going to get a soaking. Everybody needs to go up there, and the rainfall should top up the water bowsers, especially if the forecast holds true and it rains a lot next week. So I've got the zinnias out. Over 100 of those have gone out. Some more orlaya. And then I also did courgettes and my second batch of broad beans. Now, if it sounds like I'm reading things out here, it's because I have so much to tell you that I have written it all down tonight. So if it sounds like I'm reading it out, that is because I am, to a certain extent. What else have I put out? Oh, yes. So yesterday, some more Nigella went out, snaps, and then peas and sweetcorn went out. And I actually put my peas up that rebar, which is the reinforced steel that you use when you're doing concrete and stuff. And if you were listening back in February, you'll know I was house sitting, and I ended up going onto a building site on the street that I was house sitting for and asking the builders if I could have this piece of rebar out of their skip that was on the street, and they said yes. So I finally managed to put it up with lots of road pins and cable ties and bits and pieces, and my peas are going to go up that. So the rebar is like a piece of trellis, but it's made out of reinforced steel, and it's used in the construction trade when they have to pour concrete and then reinforce it. Super, super useful. And the best thing about it is that it's got a really, really rough texture to it. So things like peas, they climb with their tendrils, and they're a little bit sort of wimpy about it, in the sense that if whatever you train them up, like bamboo canes, for example, they'll struggle to grip onto it because their bamboo's very smooth. So if you can get them up something textured like coppiced hazel, which I have absolutely masses of, because of course we coppiced all the hazel a couple of months ago, but the ground is hard, and oh God, that's one of the timers. Sorry, let me turn that off. The ground is, it's not hard, well, it's hard, but the plot is soft. The soil there is soft and friable. But I can't work out how to get the sticks so far into the ground that if it's windy and the peas are all up it, they won't just blow away. So I was a bit worried about that. So I thought, I know, I'll just use the rebar instead, and I can put road pins in with the big smacky tool that you smack the road pins into the soil with, and then they're not going to blow away if it gets windy. So that's what's happened with that. I've been doing some bed prepping where Nigel, the digger man, lifted the turf for me. So I've got two distinct areas, one which is like 150 square meters of completely new outside of the fence panels. And then I've got about 20 something within the fence panels. And that's what I've been working on the last few days. So just removing like really large stones, any stray bits of grass that got missed, thistles, and just raking it over. And I'm going to work on the area that's outside the fence panels, 150 square meters, in due course, because that needs a little bit of TLC. So what I decided to do is to sort of divide it in half and work on getting half of it ready for planting in this season, and the other half I'm just going to put a green manure down. So I've been out and bought some green manure, and it's a special a spring summer mix, so it's designed to go on the soil now. And each packet says it's going to cover 20 square meters. So I have got 2 packets, so enough for 40 square meters. And I'm going to go and sow that, and then hopefully it will get all watered in, and I'll probably have to net it because I think the pigeons are just going to think I've just put out a buffet for them. And I also bought another packet of peas. So there's 400 seeds in there. And I thought I'm going to put loads and loads of peas on the land because peas are nitrogen fixers as well. So that should help. And there hasn't been any chickens grazing in that section of the field. So it's literally just been to grass for years. And I think the soil is going to need a little bit of support. So I thought, buy some legumes, put them in, and not only could I eat peas all day long because I just love peas, and this year is all about sowing only my most favorite vegetables because I didn't have enough space. Now I've got masses of space, but I think 150 square meters of peas would just be a bit stupid. So I've got the green manure to go down, the peas to go in, and I'm going to do them in drills. No more seed trays, no more compost, no time, and definitely no patience for that. So I'm going to do them in drills, and they're short ones. I've bought Kelvedon Wonder, which get to about 2 foot tall, so they shouldn't need any support. And if they do, I can use road pins and string for those guys. And then I bought a packet of mixed annuals, which is described as soft and gentle, mid-height cottage garden flowers. So I thought I'm going to sow those just to have some nice, attractive ground cover and to remind all the pollinators that I'm here, because I wasn't doing flowers really last year. I did some in the trial beds, but not very many. And so I think when everybody flies over, they're like, oh, that's just a field with chickens in it. We won't go in there. So I sort of want to put these massive flags up saying, could all the pollinators please stop here? So I thought, put in a packet of mixed annuals. And again, I'm just going to rake over the soil and surface sow them, rake them over a little bit more, and then again, probably net them so the pigeons don't eat those. So that's what's been going on with that. I have put some extra support around the cornflowers. So you may have seen the photo. I think I put a photo on the at Hen Hill Cut Flowers Instagram to show you that I made these supports for the cornflowers because they all fell over last year and it was a very steep learning curve. I got some lovely bendy stems and I thought, no, I can't do that this year. So I basically made like a mesh net using string, and you may make a grid and you loop the string through. And so I've basically, the cornflowers have got tall enough now to have the next tier of support. So I've done that. Definitely not going to be doing Nigella again. Like, me and Nigella have seriously fallen out. So the trays that I've got in the greenhouse, some of them have just been really flaky, and they, after the first tray, which I did in one of those chicken thigh trays, and they were absolutely effortless, no complaints, no problems. All the subsequent trays, they're really, really fussy. They're like, oh, don't water us from above. We don't like it. We're going to damp off. We're just going to collapse in a heap. My seed sowing also was a little bit questionable on the later batches because I seem to have like just clumps of them and then all these gaps. So they're not happy. And I took a tray up yesterday and put them out, and they were really fiddly. And they seem to have this funny sort of gap between the foliage or the leaves at the top and then the roots. And it's sort of like a little bendy bit that they just seem to go in the soil and then just fall over. And some of the things, when you think how robust the cornflowers are, even the craspedia, the little yellow golf balls on sticks, they've gone out. They've had a little bit of a crisis in the last week, but they're kind of pulling themselves together. But the Nigella just seemed to be just permanently in a state of crisis. And I thought, well, I can't be doing with that next year, I'm afraid. So I might just sort of direct sow some and leave them in a patch all by themselves. But the level of maintenance it's required to keep these guys going is absolutely not worth my time. Because the zinnias went out as well. The zinnias they're like little pencils. They've got really nice thick stems, and they come out of the seed trays really well, and lovely, lovely root system, really robust, stand up all by themselves, and they are off. So they had a water when they got put in, and I watered them tonight. They went in on Sunday, and it's Tuesday. So they went in on Sunday, and they're absolutely fine. They're away, and you can almost see that they're growing, like they're off. And the Nigellas are still thinking about it. So no more Nigellas. Data collection, still doing this, still painstakingly recording everything. And I'm looking forward to going through all of that in the winter. There's no time for it now, but the important thing is to just get it all written down. I have been updating my perennials wish list because I really have been looking around the block going, why have I got nothing to cut? And it's because I didn't start in December or January. It's because I'm not growing under polytunnels. And I don't have enough perennials that are early cutters. So there's GMs everywhere I look, and they seem to be doing really, really well this year. And I'm thinking I really need to get more GMs. In fact, just GMs for the plot. I've got them in my garden and I haven't got the heart to dig them up, take them to the plot. So I really need to invest some of the money that I'm going to make selling everything, fingers crossed, into some GMs and also get some Nepeta up there. And I've also been flirting with my roses catalogues. So I've got all the rose catalogues, Peter Beals, David Austin, a couple of others. And I've been looking at them going, yes, I really am really feeling the need for some roses. I think it's just because I've had enough of the seedlings. And I don't want them to know that because I've been painstakingly babysitting them ever since. I think the first lot went in on the 10th of March. Where are we now? March, April. Yeah, 2 and a bit months. And I'm like, okay, I really just want to move on to perennials and shrubs because the seedlings are so high maintenance, and it couldn't have been a more challenging spring, really, with the lack of water and all of this sunshine. So that's that. I've managed to replace all the bits that I broke off my water storage units, all the broken hose attachments where one just snapped off inside the fitting, which was ridiculous, and one I smashed a fence panel into. So I've done that. In fact, full disclosure, my other half just ordered me two from Amazon, which was amazing. I had no idea he was even doing it, and he just presented them. So that got done. I've been interplanting between the perennials. So the orlayas are kind of getting squished in around the eryngiums, and they don't seem to mind. It's fine. They're just so tiny and delicate looking. I thought I was a bit mean, actually. I thought, do you know what? You don't deserve your own bed because you're just so tiny and hopeless. Not deserve, maybe deserve's not the right word. Like, I felt like they could do with some bolstering. So the eryngiums have been relocated from where they were last year. They're the perennials. They're doing really well. So I thought I'm going to tuck the orlaya in around the eryngiums, and then they kind of have like these big sisters looking after them. What else is on my list? Oh, yeah, verbena. Verbena doing really, really well under the mulch. So they've been having a crisis for ages after a really promising start. Put a bark mulch down. They're all really happy. They're away now. So that is amazing. And, oh, yes, the most exciting news. I'll probably end on this because I think that's probably long enough for today. My Halls of Heddon dahlia cuttings are coming tomorrow. So I've had no information from the company whatsoever, but I had an email from the Royal Mail to say your delivery is coming tomorrow, and I cannot wait. Cannot wait. I'd almost forgotten that I'd got them. So that's the other thing that needs planting out, not just all of my seedlings before the rain comes on Saturday or Sunday, which, thinking about it, it's just not going to happen. But the dahlias were supposed to be going out as well. Oh, there's just so much to do. There's so much to do. Okay, that is, I think, everything I had to say. Oh, yes, one final thing. Thank you for those of you who sent me a message or put a comment on the @HenHillCutFlowers Instagram after I did my video of Nigel, the digger man, amazing, amazing digger man, who transformed the plot and lifted all the turf for me. So I put a little reel up on there. And some of you, if you put a comment on, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Honestly, I really, really do. I'm so grateful and so happy. It makes me smile every time you send me a message or a comment or something. I think it's lovely, and it honestly makes a huge difference. So look, I'm going to go and sign off now. I'm going to go and rescue my pasta, which may be slightly soft by now, and have my dinner and upload this. And I hope you enjoy the episode. By the time I get back to you on Friday, I hope to have planted out masses more stuff. Maybe, hopefully, we may have had a little tiny bit of rain. That would be amazing. And So I hope that you have a fantastic rest of the week, really good few days, and please come back and join me again on Friday, where I'll look forward to updating you on what I've got up to this week. Okay, catch you then.